สวัสดีค่ะทุกท่านนะคะยินดีต้อนรับกลับเข้ามาที่การสัมมนาออนไลน์นะคะต้องขอประทานโทษทุกท่านในเบื้องต้นก่อนที่เราก็อยากจะให้บริการให้การสัมมนาครั้งนี้มีประโยชน์กับทุกท่านเต็มที่นะคะก็คือเราก็จัดฟังก์ชันการแปลแล้วเราก็อยากจะให้ทุกท่านได้รับฟังทั้ง2 ภาษานะคะก็อาจจะมีขัดข้องทางเทคนิคบ้างนะคะก็ขอบคุณทุกท่านที่กลับเข้ามาร่วมกันใหม่นะคะและทุกคนก็ไม่เรียกว่าไม่มีใครขาดหายไปเลยค่ะเมื่อสักครู่ก็เห็นประมาณ30 กว่าท่านตอนนี้ก็กลับมา30 กว่าท่านตามเดิมเหมือนเดิมนะคะก็ขอบคุณที่ติดตามฉะนั้นในระหว่างนี้นะคะวันนี้ก็ยินดีต้อนรับทุกท่านที่เข้ามาร่วมการสัมมนาออนไลน์ซึ่งเป็นหัวข้อเกี่ยวกับความท้าทายของการจัดการเรียนรู้นะคะในสถานการณ์โควิดนะคะดิฉันทินสิริโพนะคะจะมาเป็นผู้ดำเนินรายการในวันนี้นะคะดิฉันเป็นหนึ่งในกรรมการของมูลนิธินะคะแล้วก็ยินดีที่ทุกท่านเข้ามาร่วมวันนี้เรามีการเผยแพร่ไปเรียกว่านอกจากประเทศไทยแล้วที่ประเทศอื่นด้วยนะคะมีชาวต่างชาติหลายท่านในเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้ได้เข้าร่วมด้วยนะคะเป็นเครือข่ายของภูมิภาคทีเดียวเป็น international เลยนะคะหลายท่านที่เข้ามานะคะดิฉันขอให้ข้อมูลนิดนึงก็คือว่าในด้านจอด้านล่างนะคะท่านจะเห็นปุ่มที่เหมือนกับลูกโลกนะคะแล้วก็เขียนว่า interpretation ท่านสามารถไปที่คลิกที่ปุ่มตรงนั้นนะคะแล้วก็เลือกว่าจะฟังภาษาไทยหรือภาษาอังกฤษได้นะคะโดยที่ท่านจะมีล่ามคอยแปลอยู่นะคะทีนี้ถ้าเกิดว่าท่านต้องการที่จะฟังภาษาอังกฤษก็จะล่ามก็จะพูดภาษาอังกฤษไปด้วยการดำเนินงานในวันนี้ดิฉันผู้ดำเนินรายการจะพูดเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะคะแล้วท่านก็สามารถจะเลือกฟังเป็นภาษาไทยได้นะคะโอเคเพื่อไม่ให้เป็นการเสียเวลานะคะวันนี้เราก็จะเริ่มงานวันนี้จะเป็นหนึ่งในกิจกรรมของมูลนิธิรางวัลสมเด็จเจ้าฟ้ามหาจักรีนะคะซึ่งทางมูลนิธิรางวัลสมเด็จเจ้าฟ้ามหาจักรีจัดกิจกรรมในรูปแบบนี้เนี่ยเรียกว่าเดือนหนึ่ง2 ครั้งเลยทีเดียวเพราะว่าเราต้องการที่จะให้ความรู้เกี่ยวกับคุณครูนะคะเอาบทเรียนที่น่าสนใจจากคุณครูที่ได้รางวัลสมเด็จเจ้าฟ้ามหาจักรีจากเรียกว่าในเอเชียภูมิภาคตะวันออกเฉียงใต้นะคะมาช่วยเป็นไอเดียให้กับคุณครูไทยและคุณครูอื่นๆเนี่ยได้รู้ว่ามีการบริหารจัดการเรียนในบริบทของความท้าทายอย่างไรบ้างนะคะวันนี้ก็มาฟังในประสบการณ์ของครูจากมาเลเซียและอินโดนีเซียฟิลิปปินส์ระหว่างที่ฟังท่านใดมีคำถามสามารถพิมพ์ไปได้ที่ในแชทบ็อกซ์นะคะแล้วเราก็จะมีเจ้าหน้าที่คอยมีทีมงานคอยตอบคำถามแล้วก็จะเปิดเวลาให้ตอนท้ายคำถามด้วยนะคะดิฉันขอเริ่มด้วยการแนะนำคุณครูที่จะมาเป็นวิทยากร so for the session today, welcome back again. So the session, this is the online seminar, which is part of the Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation, which we have provided as a series for teachers to learn from each other's experience and help each other during the COVID time. My name is Tin Siri Bodhi, and I will be the moderator for this session. For the session today, I will be speaking in English, and if you there will be an interpretation in Thai language for the Thai audience as well. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat box. For today's sessions, we have a very interesting 3 speakers. Today, it will be on the topic of challenges. What I would like to introduce you is that the Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation, which some of you who have just joined us, is an award given to teachers who perform outstanding in their best area, one for each country. The award has begun in 2015, and we have given it every other year. So this is the third round of the Princess Mahajagri Award Foundation. And each time that we have the online seminar, we will invite these teachers to come and share their experience because they're the best of all in their country. As you can see in the picture, we have first set 11 teachers in 2015. The second set is in 2017, and the third round is in 2019. And for this year, we also have the fourth round in 2021. And these, the 11 more teachers for the recipient of this year award will receive the award from Her Royal Highness in October later this year. So for today's speaker, we pick 3 outstanding experience from 2 countries, from Philippines and from Malaysia. The first speaker that I would like to introduce to you is Dr.Jesus Catigan Insilada. Dr. Jesus is the Princess Mahajagri Award recipient of 2017. And as you can see in the map, that is where his school is. He is the school principal of Caninguan National High School in Iloilo. According to the map, his island is in the middle of the Philippines. And for his special area, Mr. Sadat or Dr. Sadat, Dr. Insilada is very good in his own cultural context. He is good in promoting indigenous group to aware of their local heritage and make the best use of their local heritage to help the community. Dr. Insilada also a very good spokesperson. He also hosts radio program, and he also composed many music or play. So he's very outspoken, and he's also write books to promote indigenous group. So he will be one of our speakers. Next, the next speaker is also from the Philippines. He is Dr. Sadat Minandang. Dr. Sadat is the Princess Mahajagri Award recipient from 2019. He is the school principal from an island called Mindanao, in the area of Mindanao, and his town is called Cotabato. If you can see in the map, his island or his school is in the south of the Philippines. So we will hear from 2 teachers from the Philippines today, but totally different experience, and they have their own uniqueness. And he has also experience in helping the students who are out of school because of Mindanao. There are situations in the Mindanao area where many students are in conflict zone and they did not go to school. So Dr. Sadat helping them coming back to school by bringing the knowledge to them. And he will come and share with us how he helped students who are out of school to be back in the school and how he empowered the community and helped them to continue during the COVID pandemic. That's our second speaker. The third speaker is, the next speaker is from Malaysia. The third speaker is Miss Saripa Binti Embong. Miss Saripa, she is the recipient of Princess Mahajagri Award in 2017. She lives in Terengganu. And as you can see in the map, that's where she lives, in the south of Malaysia. Her area of expertise is in STEM education. She is very unique because she's making use of STEM education or skill in science, technology, mathematics to help the students solve daily problems. By solving the problems that they can learn and practice their problem-solving skills. She will come and share with us what she has done. I'm sure you have listened to me a lot already and looking forward to hear the 3 speakers. So now I would like to hand the floor to our first speaker is Dr. Jesus Insilada. let me take you to the Philippines. Let's get ourselves ready. The famous thing that we usually do during this time, because everybody's online, let's do a virtual tour. I would like to take you for a virtual tour. Let's go to the Philippines, to the island and to the city called Iloilo to meet with Dr. Insilada. And Dr. Insilada will tell us and show us what have he done with the students in the area during this COVID pandemic. Dr. Insilada, hi.
Hello.
Hi, good. Dr.
Good
Insilada.
day, Southeast Asia. Hello, Dr. Tensari.
Yes, yes.
And to all our virtual participants, teachers coming from the different Southeast Asian countries.
Thank you. So if you're ready, I'd like to turn the floor to you and you can show your PowerPoint presentation and I'll give you about 15 minutes to tell the stories from Iloilo. Please take us there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tensari. I will introduce myself again. I am Dr.Jesus Catigan Insilada, school principal from Malitbog National High School. I have just transferred to my new school effective March 1, 2021. I am now in my new school in my own hometown. And I am the principal too of Malitbog National High School in Calinog, Iloilo. That's in the beautiful island of Panay in the Philippines. I have been advocating about culture-based education. Actually, it's culture-based and inclusive education. And as a practice, I have been integrating the different aspects of our culture into our lessons to make them relatable as well as relevant to the lives of our learners. Now that I am already a school principal, I am here to train my teachers how to contextualize and indigenize their learning materials so that our learners could easily understand and easily process the contents of the learning materials. But how culture-based and inclusive education continues in this time of the pandemic, where schools are closed and we opt to home-based learning. In my school, with more than 1,000 students, all of them are learning at the comfort of their own home, and as teachers, it is our duty to provide modules, learning kits, and supplementary materials. At our level, we see to it that we provide learning materials that are teacher-made, that are culture-based, so that learners could easily process, because they don't have the teachers at their side to explain everything. All they have are their parents as learning facilitators, and we know that parents are not trained. They don't have that background on pedagogy, on how to deliver the lesson to their own kids. But as teachers, we see to it that we connect with our learners. We make use of the different remote platforms in order to connect to our learners as well as to the parents for their feedback. For example, we may use FB Messenger or Facebook Messenger that is very popular here in the Philippines, especially in my area. If connection is not working, we may opt to texting or SMS. We have also to call our learners, especially those who need our special attention. Those learners who may not return their outputs on time, so we need to follow up on them so that we would be updated on how they're doing or what are their issues and problems in answering their modules and their learning materials at home. We are very grateful that we mobilize the different stakeholders from the local government units. We have our alumni association, Of course, the support of the parents through the Parents Teachers Association and even private institutions who have been helping us through donations and also through volunteerism. In our community, indigenous cultural community, we really appreciate that strong sense of community where the education of the learners is one of the major concerns of the whole community. And with that sense of community, everyone has his or her own role in the distribution and retrieval of modules. They are there to help us. Parents would select or identify their leaders so that not all parents will proceed or go to school to avoid mass gathering. So parents organize their own clusters and choose their own leaders so that only a few parents representing the whole community or the whole barangay will be coming to school. And in our school, we see to it that health protocols are strictly followed in accommodating parents who would be getting and returning the outputs of their children. We have launched many programs, projects, and innovations in the context of the new normal so that we could better serve our learners. And to sum up all this innovation and projects, we have open communication by using the different platforms to reach out to the learners, to the parents, and the whole community. We have also to mobilize support from our stakeholders. We have to strictly impose health protocols to avoid the worsening of COVID cases in our area. And we have to tap our LGU, local government unit, our health units as our major partners in the delivery of education in the new normal. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Insilada. You have touched a very interesting strategies in the view of school principal of how you can enable the learning challenge of the students. I believe if you have the PowerPoint to share, you can share with us later on the second round, or you want to share it later, or you want to share it now?
Okay, let me try to share my screen. Okay, so we have here.
I'm seeing your screen. So far, so good. Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here in the schools division of Iloilo and in the whole Department of Education here in the Philippines, we are obliged to prepare our basic education learning continuity plan. This serves as our guide, as our roadmap to guide us in the school on how shall we implement our programs, projects, activities and innovations in the context of the new normal. And we call it Learning Continuity Plan Plus. And this is our Learning Continuity Plan for the next school year because we have just concluded our school year 2020-2021 and we're about to open schools, not the physical schools, but the schools at the comfort of the homes of our learners. So looking back, I would like to share with you specifically the best practices, the challenges first, the challenges as well as the action taken. For example, we categorize the challenges to academic, that refers to the difficulty of the learners in processing their lessons, that's academic. Everything that pertains to their lessons, we categorize that as academic. Societal challenges refer to challenges about protocols, about those that we cannot really control, but we need to overcome. The unexpected lockdowns, what shall we do if we have these kinds of challenges? And the last one is systemic, that pertains to our system, our process, what went wrong with our procedure in the delivery of education. And all these are called systemic challenges. Academic challenges, for example, I will give you an example. 25 out of 100 surveyed learners said they had difficulty in processing the lessons in the modules. So what did we do? We adopted a remote communication platform called Pakig-angutay para maghangpanay, that is in our own language, which means let's communicate to understand each other in giving instructions, and at the end of the learners, how they would process their lessons, and teachers will be there communicating with them remotely through different platforms. Another is we provided contextualized and indigenized worksheets called Hubon Malitbog worksheets that is quality assured by the school QA team. So we cannot immediately give the materials to the learners, but we should have to quality assure that everything is in place. It is free of errors. It is suited to the needs of the learners, and it is culture sensitive since these materials are culture-based and indigenized materials. When needs arise, we also conducted home visitation to struggling learners, not all learners, but to a few learners who would need limited face-to-face interaction, but of course, with the permission from the local government unit, from the community, especially from the community leaders. And we call the program Kaingod Ko Responsibilidad Ko, which means my neighbor, my responsibility. This is in the case of the teachers who are living within the community, so they are there to take good care of their learners in their neighborhood. These are just a few examples. I will be flashing only some of the remaining examples. Okay, example of group chats where students would reach out to their teachers and teachers would reach out to their learners. So we have also here academic challenges. Okay, so pictures showing parents in getting the modules and in returning the modules in school. Okay, so these are some more examples. Other innovations that we adopted are peer tutoring. We have better students paired with those who are struggling, and they are neighbors and they will be helping one another. We also collaborated with the community volunteers like the local government unit officials, the youth volunteers, by means of this program, My Knowledge, My Share. Okay, so these are pictures showing home visitations by the teachers to chosen struggling learners. Okay, academic still. Okay, science department. Societal challenges, examples are sudden change of community quarantine category and implementation of selective lockdowns. What if our area will be under lockdown? So we have provided many interventions. So these are just examples. So we'll run down this up to systemic challenges, and we'll be sharing with you some more about our ways forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Insilada. Very interesting way of helping the students. I'm sure from your experience, the teacher will have lots of ideas, and I'll come back to you because you have many interesting points on the challenge, and we want to hear about how do you solve those challenges. The picture looks very interesting as if we go to visit Iloilo to your school. Now,
Yes.
thank you. So now I like to bring the audience for a virtual tour to another country. I wanted to be as mobile so that they can be energetic for Thursday afternoon. So let's move from Iloilo to Malaysia, to Terengganu. So I'd like to now take you to Malaysia. I'd like to take you to meet with one of our outstanding teacher, Miss Saripa. Hi, Saripa. Hi, Saripa. If you hear me, can you give me the signal that you can hear me?
Okay.
Good. All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today? Great. Okay. For Saripa, can you take us for a tour at your school and tell us what have you done to help your students during this COVID pandemic situation, and how do you help them learn math, science, and STEM education during this COVID because they have to be at home? Please, the floor is yours. Please have your microphone on.
Okay.
Good. I can hear you well now. Yes, go on.
Assalamualaikum. Sawadika. Hello, and a very good afternoon to all of you.
นะคะสัญญาณของ Saripa อาจจะมีปัญหาเล็กน้อยนะคะเดี๋ยวถ้ายังไงจะดูว่าโอเค Saripa please try again.
Yes.
Continue. Continue. Yes. Continue.
Thank you, Dr. Tinsiri, for the introduction of me and my dear family, Princess Mahachakri Foundation. Dear presenters and all the audience, thank you for inviting me to this conference, and I'm really honored to be here today. May I share my slide?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes.
I'm seeing your screen, so far so good. Great, I see your screen now. Please continue.
All right. Let me begin with the introduction. Okay, the next slides. Okay, the Malaysian Education Development Plan stipulates that the students, every student had access to education to achieve their potential to face the future. Therefore, students are entitled to the opportunity to pursue education even if they are unable to attend school. And the education sector is one that has been most impacted by the pandemic, but the education cannot stop because of the pandemic. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. To overcome this, the education sector in Malaysia has opted for the approach on online learning or e-learning with technology and devices as a mediator of communication to replace face-to-face learning. How I manage the learning process in this situation? Okay, next slide. There are 5 here, there are lists here. For the, we look at some of the challenges of managing learning during this pandemic. First challenges is closure of school. Okay. This action makes physical learning impossible and home-based learning is resumed. However, last year's experience has helped us to deal with it. And we are constantly working to improve our teaching methods in order to help students optimally. Second, internet access dilemma. Okay, some students were unable to join online classes using Google Meet or Zoom due to poor internet connection problems. Sometimes their devices experience some technical issues to access learning materials that consumes a lot of data, such as YouTube video on YouTube. For the literacy in technology, sometimes I feel like ICT teacher because I also need to guide students to use certain application while teaching. It is compulsory for teachers, students, and parents to master technology in order to embrace this new way of teaching and learning. Next, ability to own the device. There were some students who had to share the device with their siblings and parents. This challenge greatly disrupts the student learning progress. And the last one is mental and physical exhaustion. Okay, naturally, fatigue is experienced when it comes to screen exposure from a notebook, phone, or other device for a long period of time, not only to the teacher, but to the students as well. Sitting in front of the gadgets and there's no physical activities in between make the situation worse. On top of that, most of the students do not have the luxury of comfortable place to study due to their standard of living, which demotivates them in a long run. Okay, we move to the next slide. It's about school timeline. This is some information about the operation of my school in Terengganu for this year. As you can see, usually the school terms begins on the first week of January, but this year it started late because which on 20th of January. Only on the 1st March, the primary school students were allowed to go to school to have face-to-face learning, while for the secondary school students, they had started face-to-face learning on March 2021. In addition, the MOE, Ministry of Education, and the school provide opportunities for students who take public examinations to complete their important exams, which are delayed from 2020. However, due to the increase in the number of cases, the school was closed again due to MCO on 6 May. From that date until now, learning takes place on a home-based learning basis. Thankfully, the Minister of Education has announced that face-to-face learning will be possible when the school reopens on September 1, hopefully. Next, these are some challenges that I encountered doing the home-based learning, which is the first one is to ensure the presence of students during the class. Perhaps fellow teachers also face the same challenge, where it is difficult to detect whether students remain in front of a laptop or device during a learning session. This is because sometimes they like to switch off the camera. Second, to adapt teaching methods to the needs and readiness of students. I always reminded myself of not having too many objectives to achieve in one teaching and learning session. The important thing is the impact. Do simple activities, but the impact is big. In addition, not all students are able to use the latest application and use a lot of storage. It is also necessary to take into account whether the students are already proficient in using application. And the third, to ensure that students are focused, students understand and have fun learning. Yes, of course, it is difficult to keep students focused while studying, especially if the number of students is too many. It is difficult to ensure that all students are actively involved. Okay, next slide. These are some of the actions. What are the government action? Here, focus for the government action. The Ministry of Education has provided a digital learning portal named Delima, where every teacher and students get a free account to facilitate the teaching and learning process. Moreover, the Malaysian government also took some initiative to provide 1 gigabit free internet through selected telco companies throughout the Movement Control Order, MCO. Okay. To cater the certain household incapability to purchase the devices, the government also introduced Didik TV, a daily television show that is available on a free-to-view television channel. The other one is EduWeb TV. Okay, these are other support systems such as Cikgu Tube Malaysia, Teachers Telegram Group, eDidik Malaysia, and many more. Teacher can join, can get teaching materials, share their materials to others. Okay, there are a lot of sharing from expert teachers in this group. And teachers are numerous, using numerous applications as a solution, such as Google Classroom, Blend-Space, Microsoft Teams, and all others. Many teachers strive to equip their workspace at home with a variety of equipment that assist teacher while teaching. I did the same thing. Okay, and this is about SPDPR. The spelling is wrong. SPDPR is a home teaching and learning reporting system. It's developed by MOE to support the implementation of home-based learning. Daily reporting to the SPDPR system must be done together with the attendance report each time the teaching session is completed before 6 p.m. every day. Okay, next slide is about parent action. Okay, under this new norm, it is undeniable that parental expenditure incline more towards electronic devices. It has become a necessity because online learning can assist to ensure the continuity of studying. Parents need to help and monitor their children's learning and contact teachers to find out their children's learning progress. And I think that's from me for the first round. Dr. Tinsiri.
Yes, thank you very much, Saripa, for this way of how you share with us the experience of Malaysia in helping the teacher. I can see that there's a way of good support system of the challenge. So I'll come back to you because I would like to hear more on how do you help the teacher overcome the challenge with those support system and the parents' engagement as well. So that's another interesting, which is similar to Dr. Insilada earlier, that he get the whole community helping. So that can be something of interest for many teachers here. So before we go back to that point to hear what is the solution, I like to bring the audience. Let's move around so that we will not stay still. Let's take them away from Terengganu, Malaysia, and take them for a tour back to another island on the Philippines. We will go to Cotabato in Mindanao in the Philippines. So if you're all ready, I would like to bring you back to the Philippines. Dr. Sadat, hi. Good afternoon, Dr. Sadat. Your microphone, please. So, Dr. Sadat, the floor is yours. So now I'm taking the audience back to the Philippines and to hear the experience from Cotabato, which is the South Island of the Philippines. If you can hear me, please give me some signal.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Southeast Asia, and good afternoon, everyone.
Right. Good afternoon, Southeast Asia. I love that. So take it away. Bring us to what you're doing. So yes, you can. I see your slide. So if you click at the slideshow,
Okay.
you can show it. Yes. Just click at the slideshow button, and that should be okay. Great. Perfect. All right. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Tinsiri, the host of this very great experience that we're going to share together. Once again, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Sadat B. Minandang, the Master Teacher 1 and designate as school head of Darping Elementary School in Cotabato City, Ministry of Basic, Higher, and Technical Education of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. And at the same time, the proponent of Biyahing Kaalaman or the Mobile Knowledge project of ours here in Cotabato City. So I am very grateful to be invited as one of the speakers for this afternoon to share our challenges and the opportunities and the best practices in preparation, what we did and in preparation in the future. So my second slide, it talks about the concern and challenges. Actually, in the previous presentation of Dr. Insilada, we are common. Quite common in terms of program, in terms of the national program, which is the concept of the basic education learning continuity plan. So this is the pictures of the Filipino learners before the COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines in public schools, in school and in the classroom, while the teacher is teaching for 40 to 70 teaching and learning through the initiatives and the innovations of different teachers. Example, may Tulak Kaalaman and Abahing Kaalaman before the pandemic. So when the arrival of this COVID-19 pandemic, education or the Department of Education is one of the most affected units or agencies in the Philippine government. And what was the impact of the COVID-19 in education? Schools were closed, and everyone knows that. And this is the response and the immediate action of the Department of Education is to have this learning continuity plan of basic education for COVID-19 pandemic, headed by our secretary in the central office. So what are those challenges faced by the school administrators, teachers, parents, and the learners in our local context, in Cotabato City, in BARM, and particularly in Darping Elementary School where I am teaching? No internet connection. I can say that no internet connection because I think it's 1% only of the population or our learners has the internet connection. Those who are live at the urban area. No gadgets, no radio and TV, parents' educational background, lack of education. Parents are busy, they are working and for their daily needs. No available learning resources at home. Children are looking after their siblings because parents are working. So that's what we have observed and encountered during the school year 2020 and 2021. Another one, children have no interest in learning because they don't know how to learn from the module. Um, Change of residence because of the poverty, because of the economics. So the parents are going to other places to find to find and solve the living. And armed conflict due to family feud is still existing. Even the COVID-19 pandemic is there. Still in Mindanao, as what have mentioned Dr. Tensiri, that Mindanao is popular in terms of the armed conflict. And that armed conflict is sometimes due to the family feud or the so-called redo. um, Distance or the geographical location of the school from the houses and from the barangay and the villages of our learners from other municipalities. That's one of the challenges during this pandemic. Trainings of teachers, because everyone are surprised with the COVID-19 pandemic. We don't prepare for this kind of learning, for this kind of teaching and learning. So that's one of our challenges and problems. Learning resources in response to the situation. Yeah. Uh, the learning resources is not aligned with the types or the style of or the method of learning and teaching in the times of pandemic. School preparation to meet the demand of the situation. Yes, because we are very surprised. The school, although we have the preparation, we have the contingency plan of the Department of Education, and we have the disaster risk reduction management, but we don't see the situation that we have now. So those are the challenges and the problems that we have encountered as administrator and teachers and the parents and also the learners, and how we overcome those challenges. How do we overcome those challenges? This is the program, or this is the concept from the central office, the Philippines government, Department of Education, goes on amid COVID-19 through DepEd's continuity plan. So this is the basis of the learning continuity plan of every regions in the Philippines, for every division and every schools of the Philippines. Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or BELCP on its acronym, is the department education major response and commitment in protecting the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel amid COVID-19 pandemic, or and the new normal situation. Education must continue the battle cry of the Department of Education under the health protocol set by the Department of Health in partnership with the World Health Organization. The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Disease approve this BELCP. So that's why we are very great, and we are very safe to play this BELCP, because it was approved by the Interagency Task Force for the Management Unit. This is the collaboration efforts and working together of different sectors and different department line agencies in the department in the Philippine government. The BELCP aims to provide quality distance learning because no more face-to-face. So what we are going is to implement the distance learning with the use of the self-learning modules, or the SLM, in digital for those who have access in internet, and printed form or printed materials for those who have no internet access. We have also the radio, the television, and the internet. For the radio and television, we have the national television and the radio, radio station, and we also have the local TV and radio station. Because in the Philippines, we have uh, different traditions, so different tribes. I mean, different tribes and different contexts. So that's why the program of the central office, the decentralization of the program of the central office. The DepEd has selected teachers who were trained to broadcast, to become a broadcasters by the country, top journalists to deliver through the DepEd TV. Since not all areas in the country have an internet connection, so that's the solution made by the Philippine government and the Department of Education to train some teachers who will become the broadcasters and to deliver the lessons through DepEd TV and the radio. With more than 100 teachers, broadcasters, and 72 production members, the DepEd TV production teams aims to produce the produce 220 episodes per week covering all the subjects areas. To assist more learners and teachers in distance learning amid the pandemic, the DepEd also upgraded its DepEd Commons, which is an online learning platform for both public and private schools. This is open for to all. This is open to all, both private and public school learners. The DepEd Commons, everyone can access on this. DepEd was able to double the number of learners that can access the platform of the same time with the help of the Department of Information and the Communication Technology and the National Telecommunication Commission. This is another triumph of the Department of Education given to as the solution of our challenges encountered. So I think that's the end of my presentation in when we speak about the challenges and the problems we have encountered during the school year 2020-2021. Thank you so much, Dr. Tensiri.
Dr. Sadat, thank you very much for this first round of telling us what are the challenges of your situation there in Mindanao. So looks like we all have the same challenge, but you're the most difficult one because you not only have to face the students' interests of learning, but you're facing the support system from the parents because in your area, parents doesn't have a good education and they're low income. And especially in your city, in Mindanao, there's also problems on conflict in the fighting. So that also the risk of security. So wow, I'm very impressed on how you help them, but I'll come back to you and I will hear from what you have helped them besides providing all this support system. Let me still be in the Philippines. If you can stop sharing the slide, that would be great. And I will take the audience still in the Philippines, but I will take them now to Dr. Insilada. Let's fly from Mindanao, which is the southern part of the Philippines. Let's fly across the ocean to Iloilo in the central of the Philippines. Dr. Insilada, so a while ago, you mentioned that there are ways that you will help your student indigenous learning. Can you tell us what was your solution in helping them, Dr. Insilada?
Thank you very much, Dr. Tensiri. You know, listening at the presentation of Dr. Sadat, I could also say that we have many common challenges, but we have different approaches because we have to contextualize our innovations and our projects and programs to suit to the needs of our own learners. In my own case, as what I have shared to you a while ago, that in every challenge that we had, identified, we tried also to select or to create one innovation or one project or one system or approach in order to solve or overcome that specific problem. For example, if students have difficulty in processing or understand their own lessons and they would need the assistance of their teachers remotely, because schools are still closed here in our area, in the whole Philippines and in some other countries. So all we have to do is to assess them remotely by making use of the different platforms. In our area, internet is not that stable also. Sometimes it is unstable, but we see to it that we maximize all the possible platforms, we maximize all the possibilities so that we could connect to our learners and vice versa. Teachers may connect to the learners, or learners are also oriented that in a time they need help, they could connect to their teachers. One best example I have given you is by providing a group chat through FB Messenger where students could communicate with their teachers if the sharing could benefit those who are in the group chat. But they could also message privately using a private message through Messenger, or they may call, or they may text or send SMS. So there are many possibilities or means to connect to one another, and we call this advocacy pakig-angutay agud maghangpanay. That is in our own language, which means let's communicate to foster understanding. Communicate remotely using the different platforms. In our area, we acknowledge the strong support given by our stakeholders, from parents to community leaders, local government units, youth volunteers, and teachers themselves. Those students we identified as struggling learners would be visited. We would have home visitation according to need. We would also identify fast learners paired with the slow learners. And then we would also have teachers who live in the area who would take good care of the students in his or her neighborhood. Everyone knows one another, and they know their travels, and they make sure all of them are insiders, and they see to it that no outsiders are allowed, so that only among them would be interacting with one another. So that is one strategy. Another is right now the Department of Education Regional Office has launched home gardening. So we need to contextualize that program for food sustainability, so that the students or learners would still receive the best nutrition that they need through home gardening, and it is integrated in the curriculum. For example, their task in home gardening could be a performance task in technology and livelihood education, planting herbal medicines and how to use them for common illnesses. Could also be a performance task in science or health. Another is the advocacy on planting trees. So we do not only advocate vegetable gardening, but we are also into herbal medicine and planting of trees and protection of forests. So these are some of the example. If you want to be specific about the programs that we have been implementing, I can show you the continuation of the slides I had shown to you a while ago.
Does your slide have some pictures of how the community doing all those programs?
Yes.
Yes, please. We have a couple of minutes. You can please share with us the picture.
The picture.
My picture tells 1,000 words. 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. So let me show.
I can see your slide now. That's great.
Okay. So home visitation. So we have here kada ginikanan katuwang ko. We name the programs in our own language so that the parents could own it or own the program. They could better understand the program using the local language. Kada ginikanan katuwang ko. Every parent is my partner. So we always say that the teacher and the parents are always the partners. The parents being the learning facilitators at home. So it is very important that the parents and the teachers always communicate. Another is the institutionalization of flexibility mechanisms and maximum tolerance in accepting outputs due to various factors from personal to imposed community restrictions. So it is very important that we are updated with the situation of our learners so that we would be aware why they were not able to submit their outputs on time. So we would say that they have lockdowns, they have been sick for some time, so they were not able to submit. And parents whose children are sick would not also go to school because if they suspect that they have the symptoms of COVID-19, and to avoid the spread of that, before their swab test, they should not go out of their home. They should undergo home quarantine. Okay. Another is to institutionalize the mobilization of support from the different stakeholders. Bulig mo, buwas damlag ko, translated as, your donation is my future. So that is the translation of that. And then another is, we are one para sa eskwelahan. We are one for the school. Okay, pictures of home visitation for our best practices. Okay, because of the best practice on communication, or opening communications for understanding, we're able to increase the learners' participation from 50% to 75%. Okay, so we have there the impact. Okay, and also we have the Olaihon system. Not all parents will go to school, but they have their parent leaders only. Okay, so we have to in totality, we adapt the system called Sistema nga Tayuyon sa Modular nga Pagtuon. So it's a systematic way of implementing there must be a system to implement the home-based learning. And then we have also, for the wellness of the teachers, we have the Zumba, the dance, every Monday morning after our flag raising ceremony. Teachers perform the Zumba or the dance as a wellness activity after the Monday flag raising ceremony, and for the students to also follow at home every morning after they get up and before they start their daily routine in answering and in studying their modules. Because of that, increased attendance of teachers from 85 to 100% during the flag raising ceremony, and for the students, they become more also active in doing their tasks at home. Okay, pictures. It is said that pictures launch 1,000 words, 1,000 pictures. So we have here the support, the pictures showing the support of our stakeholders. Boylog Malitbog, Sanyog Kalinog, that means let's unite for Malitbog National High School towards the progress of Kalinog, our municipality. We are one for education. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Sadat. Very nice idea. I think the favorite part that I will take, and I will introduce it to my colleague, is the Zumba. We can dance before our meeting, or the Great Award Foundation can adopt this idea of, let's do some Zumba PMCA dance before we start the meeting. I'm sure the chairman will really like that idea. Okay, so now before I go to Malaysia, Saripa, let's wait for me for a bit while we're still in the Philippines. I'd like to go back to Dr. Sadat. I'll leave you in Iloilo because you have a very interesting way of the point the takeaway that I have from your part is, even though the challenge you face, but you overcome in a very innovative ways, and your innovation, not only the teacher, you also get the teacher to help, you also get the community to help, and you get the parents to help. All right, so I'll come back and point it out your uniqueness later on, but I like to hear from Dr. Sadat, because you're also in the same context with Dr. Insilada in the Philippines, same country, same policy, but your situation is more challenged than Dr. Insilada because you are in the middle of the insurgency and the security, and they're so poor in that area. How do you have the practices or innovation to help your student learn? Can you share with us, please?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Tensiri rather. Management of learning through local initiative during pandemic. This is our own context. This is our situation, or our solution that fit to the demand of our situation and places here in Cotabato City. We adopted the BE or the LCP as what Dr. Insilada presented, the LCP of their school. Second is the implementation of blended learning modalities. We have the very few online classes, and majority, at least almost 100%, are in offline classes using the mobile cell phone, the keypad cell phone. Yeah, we distributed and give the as gadgets for the learners. Self-learning modules, the SLM, the learning activity sheets, or the LAS. The SLM is the design of the SLM, or the self-learning module, is broader than the learning activity sheets. So we use the self-learning module in the first and the second quarter, and for the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we adjust the learning approach for the children using the learning activity sheets for at least 1 page or 2 pages for them to easy to answer and learn from the modules. Another one we have printed, or the online TV-based instruction for the local. We have the local radio station and TV local station here in Cotabato City, paid or funded by the city government of Cotabato City in partnership with the division schools of Cotabato City. And of course, I am very grateful and proud that Biyaheng Kaalaman projects identified as one of the approaches or schemes, the learning schemes in Cotabato City, and it is already adopted by other region as the relevant, or a very fit to the situation, which is the distance learning, using this Biyaheng Kaalaman motorcycle, roaming around to the community, and conduct a quick visitation and assessment to the community. It's a very fantastic experience in this time of pandemic and in the implementation of school year 2020-2021. Now, uh, bridging the gaps and addressing challenges, and plus championing educator. What I as what I have said, pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, it's not only give us the challenges or problems, but also an new horizon for some educators, for more educators rather. um, as a school head, I was designated as school head in Darping Elementary School. At the same time, I am teaching grade 6 learners in the kindergarten and the out of school children. Um, we provide, or we purchase learning resources. Example, the printers, photocopier, computer ink, and many more. We have transmittal radio. We purchase transmittal radio, keypad cell phones, learning kit, and health essential kit for the parents and for the teachers and for the learners. And some of those learning resources coming from donors from our partners and from private individual. We established the reproduction management unit for the reproduction of modules, for the reproduction of learning activities and other some learning resources. We also identified area for distribution and retrieving of SLM or LAS in the school community through the help of the local government unit or our stakeholders. We identified some areas in the barangay office or in the village or in the purok. Another one, we establish rapport, connection, and partnership with community leaders, stakeholders, partners, and parents, as what stated in the continuity plan or the basic education learning continuity plan. That in times of pandemic, in times of this trying time, we need to have we need to have strong networking and linkages to the partners because as far as Republic Act 9155 is concerned, the school cannot stand alone without the support and the help of the stakeholders and the partners. And this one of the highlights in the school year 2020-2021 is the conduct of action researches by the teachers and by the school heads of Cotabato City Division and our Darping Elementary School. So what we did in the conduct of action researches, the purpose of this is to discover the root and address problems encountered to the following issues, because this is one of the highlights, challenges encountered when we speak about the teaching and the learning process during the pandemic about reading. Still, there are frustrated, there are slow, and there is non-readers in school. Learning in different subjects, there are a lot of problems encountered by the subject teachers or the teachers. Distribution and retrieval of SLM and LAS, because some of the parents do not get the modules or do not return the modules because they are busy, because there's no any answers from the SLM or from the LAS, and so other reasons. Another title or researches that we have conducted is about the psychological aspect of the learners. We believe and we all know that the learners of the school year during the school year 2020-2021 are we when we talk about their psychological aspect, it's very affected. And that's why some of the researchers in Darping Elementary School studied about the psychological aspect of the learners. Another thing is the disaster risk management. And we have also a title about increasing of malnourished, the study about the increasing of malnourished learners, how to solve this problem because still existing in the school and in the community. This is the photos of the reproduction of the school learning, self-learning modules or the learning activity sheets, the materials that we have provided from the budget from the school and donations from stakeholders and partners. The pictures, the sample pictures when we distribute and retrieve the modules in school and in the community. We visited the community and we identified areas for the distribution and SLM at least twice a month or every 2 weeks. This is the sample of the TV and radio-based instructions did by our teachers in Darping Elementary School. The teachers in the pictures are the teachers of Darping Elementary School, and it was aired during the first, second, third, fourth, and the fourth quarter. And this is the sample of the offline learning. The teacher is using the mobile phone, uh, not the internet one, a mobile phone to monitor and assess the learners. This is the example of our learning assessment in the community and in school. This is during the photos during the conduct of action researches. First time in Darping Elementary School for 40 years of existing of Darping Elementary School. First time in the history that teachers have conducted their own research through our support and our initiative. And this is an exhibit, action researchers to address, to solve the problems they have encountered, especially and in terms of teaching and learning methods. Okay, we have our judges, we have our visitors from our um, division and the region. We also have conducted the community pantry. This is the initiative of the Darping Elementary School to conduct this school and community pantry. This is a pick and share. If those parents who can afford to share something, for example, whatever resources available in their community, and they will bring it to school and then share it to other parents who do not have it, and then pick some what they have need in their daily needs, for example. So this is a pick and share, and some of the funds are coming from teachers and the school head of the school. So this is a very effective program of the Department of Education here in the Philippines and Darping Elementary School. So this is the picture during the community pantry, but we did it for two times in this school year. The Biyahing Kaalaman feeding activity, the Biyahing Kaalaman project is still ongoing, even after the closing rights of the schools in Department of Education. This is the Biyahing Kaalaman feeding program. We visited their places, the community, and their house to house to deliver their food for those who have identified malnourished children. Yes, this is also a Biyahing Kalaman feeding activity funded by the Share Your Spear Singapore, who have seen our picture last year, and they have communicated us, and we made some memorandum of agreement to fund the series of activities in terms of feeding program. The Biyahing Kalaman feeding activity, we adopted some orphanage in Cotabato City and the Bajau learners, which is the out-of-school children in Mother Barangay, Cotabato City. We have also the Biyahing Kalaman Literacy and Numeracy Program. This is a very, very quick visitation in every places and every community. But we see to it that we observe the health protocols. We gathered the children in the community and read some story, and for the basic numeracy and the literacy program as one of the components of the Biyahing Kalaman projects. Yes, this is another example of the storytelling for the literacy and numeracy program of the Biyahing Kalaman. And for the psychosocial support for these children, another sponsor from Share Your Spare Singapore, they sent to us the toys, and we distributed to these children for their psychological aspect. We believe that through these toys, they're being stressed because of the pandemic. Um, will give a positive perception in life. So
Right.
a lot of children who receive the toys
Yes.
from our sponsors.
Yes. Yes. Very
Okay.
good. You have a
And-
very good examples.
Yeah.
Before I miss my flight to go to Terengganu, Malaysia, because there is a flight that I have to take all these participants
Okay.
go to Malaysia. So can you flip through some of your slide to show? I know you have lots of very interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you wrap up? So before the flight's taking off to Terengganu to see Saripa.
Okay.
1 minute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tensire. This program is the initiative of the school head tapping and the student supreme government or the student leaders in school to help other children's. So they are feeding using my tulak kaalaman before, and now they called the tulak karamay. Okay. Observation of teachers in the new normal. We still did this, and this is our mobile roaming around in the community, and in their playground in front of their houses or in the community, working on linkages, our supporters, our funders, and our sponsors. Achievements and recognition, I believe, are a good teacher with a great heart. You can achieve everything in this career. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat.
Yes, malaming salamat. Thank you very much. Or in Thai, khop kun mak mak ka, for your experience on the how do you help the community. Very impressive. But we will come back and to summarize all those wonderful stories from both of you, remarkable ideas. Can I take all the audience to Malaysia, because there's a flight waiting for us to hear what Saripa mentioned. Let me take you for a virtual tour to go back to Saripa School, Terengganu. Saripa, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you
Hi.
share? Yes, before we left off, you tell us about the challenges that you have at your school. Now, can you tell me the best practice or your innovation of the ideas on how you help your students and teacher learn? Yes, please.
Okay. I will share you some my simple activities to help students and teachers also. Okay.
I see your screen.
Can you
now.
hear me?
I can hear you well, and I can see
Okay,
your
the
screen.
slide is also. Okay,
Yes.
the slide also. Okay. This is for the next practice sharing. One of the application in the Lima KPM learning portal is Padlet. Padlet, it can be accessed or used easily by students. Padlet have helped me a lot to control and manage teaching and learning session more easily in one view. Okay, the good thing about this Padlet is I can arrange the columns for the daily lesson plan neatly, interestingly, and easily referred by students as shown in the first picture. And the second, for the right, on the right is a display where students send group assignments to their respective group columns. This is about Padlet that I use through teaching. Okay. Sorry. Teachers are using numerous applications as a solution. So I back to the Padlet, the slide. Okay, each student can view. Okay, they can view, read, and print and share materials among other students. Okay, it's a group example of the one class here. Okay. I also include recordings of group presentation. I can include here, download here a group of presentation slide, videos, instructional videos as learning resources for students who cannot join online classes. Okay. learning motivation. The effects of using Padlets are: first, students become more excited to submit assignments. Second, students strive and compete among individuals and groups to produce the best assignment. And third, improve cooperation between group members. And fourth, the number of online class attendance also improve. Okay, next slide is about furthermore, to improve self-competence. This year I participated in many workshops, trainings, webinars, forums online, whether related to pedagogy or STEM or other skills such as ICT skills. And I got the precious certificate this year, which is from CMO, okay, certificate of CMO STEM activities, right? What about STEM workshop series? Okay, I feel very grateful to have chosen to represent Malaysia to attend the STEM workshop series 2020 with a great principal, Madam Jennifer, the bottom ladies from Sabah. This 5-month program organized by CMO STEM-Ed, GOS German Institute, and Australian Embassy Thailand. We were coached by a facilitator, a great STEM expert, Dr.Sadat Catigan, the first one. Okay, throughout the workshop, I was required to apply the STEM approach during the teaching and learning process for science subject. I chose 2 classes of Form 1, Year 1, and Year 7 students, Year 7s, and I have divided them into 5 groups per class, and then I emphasize on student-centered activities. As you can see, experiment and then make a report. That is, I gave the reward for them. I sent by post to my students, who shows the achievement and the good work. Okay. Right. During teaching method, teaching method, during this pandemic, we could not teach according to the syllabus, could not teach face-to-face, and could not conduct experiments in the laboratory. But my students were good at using the internet. So there are many experimental videos on YouTube which students can learn on their own. So I just guided them to find information based on their topics. I've altered a few experiments in the textbook to ease my students doing the experiment themselves. They use the tools and materials that they can find easily at their home. The impact of this project-based learning activities is students are more happy and excited to learn. And this another activities, co-academic activities that my students involve, which is ASEAN School collaboration. This year, my students have collaborated with students from Cimahi School, Sekolah Menengah Negeri Kejuruan 1, Indonesia. Coordinator, Mr. Rudy, 2019 awardee from Indonesia. Okay, what I prepared for dealing with the future uncertainties. Okay, I need to improve my self-competence from the aspect of ASK, attitude, skill, and knowledge. Apart from Google Meet and Zoom, I need to improve my skills in using other communication applications such as Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx. I have subscribed to the Padlet application to strengthen the teaching and learning process, as well as the Zoom application to help me continue the collaborative program between schools, both locally and abroad. And I shall attend more workshops, training, and webinars to increase ICT skill. Okay, and the last one is a conclusion. Teachers must be smart and creative in planning, organizing, implementing, and controlling teaching and learning to suit the current situation. Every teacher is responsible for making technology a catalyst for human capital. And however, technology must not be a master. We teachers are the master. In addition, teachers must always reflect, be reflective educators, then they can become teachers of the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful wrapping that you put the perfect word that say a teacher must be the master of the teaching, not technology. So
Yes.
Wonderful. So on the last part, let me, if you can stop the sharing of the slide, and if we can have all of the speakers together on one screen, and I will bounce the idea with three of you นะคะทางทีมtechnician ช่วยเอาหน้าจอของ speaker ของทั้ง3คนขึ้นหน้าจอพร้อมกันด้วยค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ so what I like to do here is to put together 3 of the speakers and summarize the ideas. So let me start with Dr. Insilada. First, the key takeaway or the key point that I have from Dr. Insilada are 3 things. The way I do it, I like to do things in 3. It's easy to remember for me. First is for Dr. Insilada, you are the context of cultural base. You first help the teacher. You check them and help them to deliver the content. The nice part that I like about your content is the QA system, the quality assurance. You divide a package for your students, for your teacher, but you make sure that it's good quality when you deliver to your student. So help the teacher to produce quality material. That's point number 1. Point number 2 of Dr. Insilada is that you are finding many ways to communicate. That's a very unique part of you because not good system of internet, but you talk to them by Facebook, by Messenger, by calling them any way that you can, or maybe home visit. So communication is the second point of your situation of how you manage during this situation. But the way you communicate, it's not only between teacher and the student, but teacher with parents. So that is also important on the second part. The third part of Dr. Insilada is the involvement of the community. You get the community, the local government to involve, help them with the school garden, with food, because they also have to be there, eat and the nutrition, planting trees. So everything is the community engagement. And I love your word is that my neighbor, my responsibility, meaning everyone is the one who are in charge of helping the children to learn. Most of all, I will learn how to do the Zumba dance. So that can help with the teaching pedagogy. Okay, so that is the 3 message from Dr. Insilada. Now the 3 message from Dr. Sadat, also unique. Sadat, your situation is very difficult, very challenging. But one thing that come across is help teacher to be the broadcaster, because in your context, internet is worse than just Dr. Insilada, but you use radio, you use television to help the teacher provide information, knowledge to your student. But to help the teacher is to get the teacher to be the broadcaster. It's not easy, but you have to, that's an interesting concept. Teacher as a broadcaster, not just a teacher. So that they need to be a broadcaster on TV and radio. That's a good skill. The second point of Dr. Sadat is about the learning module, self-learning module. Because the student have to learn by themselves. So in order to get them to learn, you have to create the self-learning package so that the student can learn themselves. And I can see from the picture, you produce a lot of those learning package to help the community and help the parents learn. And the last part on your ways of best practice is that besides similar to Jess, but I like most is you get the teacher to do research. Because in this situation, who would have thought something that can be very useful, because the research help the teacher solve problems of the community. Like, how do you help the student to read? Let's do research and let's find out and share the experience. Now, how do we get the children to do numeracy? Because in your student, there are a lot of students who are out of school. Teacher, let's do research and share, and you have that. So these are three uniqueness besides your push card knowledge that you help them now that it's in motorcycle and school feeding program and all of those. So three very unique part of your idea. Now for Saripa, okay, if we can bring Saripa เอารูป Saripa ขึ้นมาด้วยก็ได้ค่ะอยู่ในจอพร้อมกันนะคะ now the last speaker for Saripa is that the last of the Saripa, I also have 3 points. First is that you provide the support system to the teacher. For example, you have the Padlet. Malaysia context, you have Padlet because now you're teaching STEM. Of course, STEM is a different, mean the internet access of Saripa condition in school, it's very well set up so they can use iPad or computer to have all this system. But the unique part on the support system to the teacher is through this application, you have video of a teacher teaching, you have students to do many applications, everything is combined in that Padlet program that teacher and student can access. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, I like on your part is parents. You get parents to take action. You said, what should parents do? Should parents to monitor their student, and parent needs to learn. So parent engagement, but you tell them, take action. This is your kids. So that's point number 1, that's very unique. And the last point of Saripa is the teaching methods is the teacher have to be very creative, cannot teach the same way, because remember Saripa is STEM, education, technology, mathematics. So you engage the students in global activity, online activity, open their mind, open their ideas to be creative and problem solving in a different context. So these are 3 unique points that I get to take away from the 3 speakers. Any points that any of you would like to add what I have just summarized before I go to the questions? Okay, so if not, because I can see that we're extended our time a little bit further now. So I like to take one or a couple of questions online, which some of the participants, the Thai speakers would like to ask. So one of the questions is that, how do you make the teaching online to be as lively as your regular classroom, but you put that into the teaching and learning materials online? Any suggestion on what would be the technique to make it interesting?
Yes, Dr. Tenseri. In our case, because based on the survey given to the students and also with all the considerations that the purely online could be impossible, maybe it could just reinforce one important modality, which is modular distance learning, and which is printed. So online teaching would be impossible for us. But I would like to share how to make our learning materials more engaging and more relevant on the part of the students. Through the years, I have been advocating about culture-based and inclusive education, and through this approach, we see to it that the materials are the content of the materials is relevant to the experience and the realities of the learners, especially our indigenous learners. I am an advocate of culture-based education, and we cater indigenous cultural or learners from indigenous cultural communities. For them to become more excited about what they read and what they study, we need to anchor the content on their own experiences. Maybe they will be very happy to read something about their experiences, their own realities, their own context. Maybe we could use local names so that they could identify themselves. We could present their culture, traditions, and practices so that everything that they read is always connected to their own realities, to their own experience, and they will be very proud of that. Right now that we are contextualizing and indigenizing materials from the central office, from the regional office, we need to contextualize and indigenize them through teacher-made supplementary materials. So if they could read the names of their teachers as the authors, they could easily relate. And if the characters in the stories are like them, then it would be very interesting for them to read and to learn more. Thank you very much.
Great. So good idea and example. Dr. Sadat, I know that you want to comment, please.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Tinsiri. Let me tell you about the Cotabato City Division program in this during this summer. After the closing program rights of the schools division of Cotabato City, we have the so-called the summer camp on reading program, and this is an online platform. So what the division do is to share the link to every student, to every schools for some educational online gaming. This is a very interested program of the Department of Education here in Cotabato City. So every student should into the link and then answer those questions thrown by the host of the program. So the student, the learners are very excited to join.
Great idea. I have two ideas now. So from Saripa, you have anything to add on the technique of teaching? A microphone, please.
The important is that teacher must have ICT skills.
Great. Yes. Yes. So for most of the questions that I receive online is about how teacher can adjust their teaching technique to help the student in this time. It seems to be the most important because several questions comes out. But from the point of Dr. Insilada is that I like the word of connected. Whatever you teach, so all the teachers who are listening here, whatever you teach, make sure that it's connected to your students' experience and connect. Look around, you know, look at the nature, look at their way they do their daily life, and make the use of the connectedness to bring it into the subject teaching. And that's the one thing, make it connection. The other one is Dr. Sadat idea of Cotabato City game, because children love play game. If you teach them in the normal way, it'll be boring because online, who wants to sit in front of the computer all the time? Let's play game, and they love video game, they're good. So change the questions into a game and then they answer. Oh, that's a very good technique that I really like. So two ideas, but Yes, so that's of course strategy. So we have all of those, and there's another point of from the audience saying that because of your experience, they would love to have activity exchange more between country. Maybe we can, the PMCA Foundation in the future, maybe we can create a network of teachers doing exchange activity between country or within the country of that, because students can learn more, not just in the classroom, but they can learn about the world. Okay, so I don't have any questions, and I don't see any questions coming up. I like to summarize all of the point from three of you put together again in 3 points. That's my favorite. All of you have common 3 things that I pulled out from what you present, is that first, you all provide a support system to help teacher with the situation of the challenge now. Support system is very important. Support not only teacher, but support to the learner, support to the parents. So the support system is important, number 1. Number 2 is get the community to help. You cannot do it alone. Teacher cannot do it alone. All of you get the community to help. Donation in Sadat context. Just you get the parents to help teach, and Sadat have the community donate and to make the kitchen, to do the feeding program. Very useful of the community, helping not only nutrition, but mental well-being of everyone as well. And the last point, which very crucial for all of you, point number 3, is self-improvement. Being a teacher, we cannot just sit and say, oh, okay, I can't teach, let's not teach, but active, find ways to solve the problem. And I like to wrap up here with Saripa's word, is that keep in mind, if you improve yourself, not only IT, but knowledge is, teacher is the master, not technology is the master. So everyone doing that to help, and keep in mind to reflect. On this last note, I would like to invite Dr. Krishnapong Giratigan, who is the chairman of the Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation, who have initiated this series of exchange of ideas, to say a few words with all of us. จะขอเรียนเชิญท่านอาจารย์ท่านดร.กฤษณพงศ์กิรติกรนะคะท่านประธานมูลนิธิซึ่งเป็นผู้ที่เข้าร่วมให้การจัดสัมมนาในวันนี้นะคะขอเรียนเชิญท่านอาจารย์กล่าวอะไรเล็กน้อยกับทีมพวกเราค่ะอาจารย์ค่ะไม่ได้ยินเสียงค่ะ
Hello, you can hear me now? I can see all of you. Hello, Saripa, Sadat, and Hes.
Hello, Dr. Krishnapong.
It's great to see you in good shape. And I notice a lot of difference between what you have told us today and what we shared about a year ago. I think at that time, I recall, we are quite in the dark, actually. We a bit apprehensive about this new situation, because we don't know whether the thing that we're going to attempt would be right or wrong. We, at one time, I think, including Thailand, we were led into thinking that we could use online or novel technology. And the other point that I remember very well is that not just the pedagogy. I think at that time we were quite concerned about how to prevent the spread of the disease, right? So I remember we spent lots of time on how we prepare this regarding the social distance, so on and so forth. And then this time, I noticed that consideration on health system has disappeared. So I think you have mastered it, actually. Okay. And the other point that I see is now there is more of a systematic approach by your school, by the district, and by the ministry that they don't let you out alone. I think in the pack of wolves, so to speak. I learned a lot from the Philippines and Malaysia. I quite like the business continuity plan, quote unquote. If we can have something like that, I think we have like a roadmap, systematic roadmap. I think last year we tackle it piece by piece, but now we have a roadmap how to tackle this, and we accept that COVID would be with us for some time, so many years until it is just a common infectious disease that do not kill many of us. That's one thing. We have business continuity plan, or you call it learning continuity plan. The second thing, I noticed the infrastructure support that the government provide to teachers and students, especially the access to the internet in places that is available, like Malaysia. But then you mobilize other media, not just internet, radio, television. I think so. It's the same thing that I have to remind my colleagues in Thailand that we may have to reinvent the wheel, because before the internet, we have the school radio programs, we have school TV programs. We may have to revisit those radio and TV technology. And the third point, now I see what I call a platform, a learning platform that you can share, the infrastructure platform, and so the teaching materials platform. I noticed 2 platforms that you're operating, the infrastructure platform and also the learning infrastructure platform and the materials platform. I think those are things that I think at least Thailand can learn from Malaysia and the Philippines. And I hope that maybe, hopefully next year sometime, I can see you in the Philippines and in Malaysia. Thank you very much, friends.
ขอบพระคุณท่านดร.กฤษณพงศ์มากๆนะคะที่ท่านกรุณาช่วยเป็นกำลังใจแล้วก็ให้ข้อคิดกับพวกเรานะคะในตอนสุดท้ายนี้นะคะอยากจะขอให้ทุกท่านช่วยเปิดหน้ากล้องเพื่อทางเราจะได้ถ่ายรูปพร้อมกัน so I would like to invite all of you to turn on your video camera so that we can take a group picture together before we finish นะคะ and if the team can also give the signal for us to take the picture if คุณสัญชัยช่วย give the signal for us ครับผม
สวัสดีครับทุกคนครับ Evening everybody
ยิ้มหวานๆนะคะเชิญเลยค่ะสัญชัยพี่นับเลยค่ะ
ครับผมพร้อมนะครับ1 2 3ครับนะครับ One more time please take a picture together 1 2 3 now one more time another place ครับ now 1 2 3 one more 1 2 3 thank you very much
ค่ะขอบคุณมากๆทุกท่านนะคะโอ้วันนี้คนเข้าร่วมทั้งไม่ใช่ในประเทศไทยต่างประเทศแล้วก็มี YouTube ด้วยนะคะมี Facebook Live เรียกว่าเข้าเป็นร้อยๆคนเลยนะคะขอบคุณทุกท่านแล้วก็โปรดติดตามตอนต่อไปของงานมูลนิธิรางวัลสมเด็จเจ้าฟ้ามหาจักรีนะคะจะมีอีกเรื่อยๆคอยฟังข่าวเราจะมีสิ่งดีๆมาให้คุณครูได้เรียนรู้ซึ่งกันและกันเพื่อช่วยเด็กด้วยกันนะคะขอบพระคุณทุกท่านค่ะโปรดติดตามและพบกันใหม่ครั้งโอกาสหน้าค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณดร.เบญจลักษณ์เช่นกันค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
เยี่ยมมาก Hi
Thank you Dr. Insilada and Saripa ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะคะ Thank you
Thank you.
Salamat. Salamat.
Salamat.
All right.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming
Dapat.
salamat.
Assalamualaikum. Selamat.
Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone who are behind the scene ขอบคุณทุกท่านทีมรามจิตตินะคะทั้งดร.ชวินแล้วก็ดร.จุฬากรที่ช่วยเป็นทีมอยู่เบื้องหลังงานครั้งนี้ขอบคุณมากๆทุกท่านค่ะคุณสัญชัยแล้วก็ทั้งน้องปาตูนด้วยนะคะแล้วก็คุณเล็กด้วยขอบพระคุณค่ะสวัสดีค่ะพบใหม่โอกาสหน้าค่ะ Thank you very much see you again next time
Bye bye.
How can I?